We were warned.
The CIA relies heavily on the NSA's ability to gather vast quantities of email, phone calls, and other data to track down.
The CIA's drone program relies heavily on data the NSA provides. That includes phone calls, emails, and other forms of signals intelligence.
But we didn't listen, and now we live in a dystopia.
Like, why would you just use it on potential criminals or enemies of the state or what have you? Well, you could use it on the entire fucking population and make trillions of dollars in advertiser revenue. Well, what about when you talk about something and then you get an ad for that something that you've never seen an ad for before?
With email service providers and social media, we've long been told that if it's free, you're the product. But with the Internet of Things, it seems even if you pay, you're still the product.
A real-life science fiction movie.
It really goes back to the data. So we have a direct connection with our consumers that provides us with deterministic first-party data. So we utilize that for targeting.
How did we get here? The personal computer, originally designed to raise the intellect of humanity, has been transformed into smart devices designed to raise the intellect of artificial intelligence instead.
In order to correct the AI, Google felt that they needed to re-rank all of the data.
This has massive implications for society. Companies are modifying their behavior to ingratiate themselves with those in power. They're changing their slogans and advertisements. They're censoring content. They're firing controversial people. Speak up, you might lose your job because you're bad for the company's ESG score.
Now it's all about politics and hysteria. What we thought could make us more connected made us more divided. Instead of people using technology for their benefits, technology now uses people for it.
Always watching you.
Music, movie streaming services, online shopping services routinely look at your pattern of behavior, compares that to previous customers, and tries to make predictions for you.
Google runs the largest of all the ad exchanges, also known as surveillance advertising.
Big social media platforms don't sell ads to you. They sell you to advertisers.
This technology is designed to collect as much information about you as possible, then analyze it with artificial intelligence to create predictive models of your behavior and preferences.
This is you, a series of purchases, preferences, and quantifiable data points that we define as your personality. We monitor every social network, internet logs, instant and text messages, known associates, your friends, emails received and sent, cell phone usage. We use this data to form personality profiles. We know who you are. We are everywhere.
The thing is, you're not just following your bad guy targets, you're also following their metadata. And by the time you go a third hop out from the original target, you're looking at a list of 2.5 million people.
This is a commercialized version of the very same technology that in previous versions used cell phone, email, and social media data to target with a Predator drone.
The CIA's drone program relies heavily on data the NSA provides. That includes phone calls, emails, and other forms of signals intelligence.
Good afternoon, sir.
But now, instead of delivering you a smart bomb,
Avon calling.
It delivers you a smart ad through smart devices, and that's just the beginning.
And nearly every TV sold these days is a smart TV. And if you're not using a smart TV, you might plug in one of these, an Amazon Fire Stick, Roku, or Google Chromecast. But all these devices are grabbing a lot of information about you, what shows you watch, when you're watching, and how long, even your voice. According to their terms of service, those smart devices use that information for a range of reasons, including analytics, marketing, and targeted advertising. They can share that data with countless third-party firms.
Your privacy and behavioral data is monetized and sold to governments, corporations, and advertising agencies.
This is a very dangerous weapon to put at the hands of the powers that be.
We've really been building back-end big data analytic capabilities now for a couple of years.
We get the data through 30,000 sources.
It's not just the typical data you find in a database, but other data that you can get about your customers.
Major financial institutions and companies give us accounts receivable information.
We know a lot about our customers. We can see their lifetime value. We know who our most valuable customer is.
We also get signal data and other kinds of data like B2B e-commerce data and shipping data and social media data.
Facebook has invested $2 billion in a data center.
$1.3 billion data center complex for Apple.
Google is now saying it's going to spend $13 billion money for data centers.
And that's where a lot of these data lakes come in.
Data is a huge asset for us.
From your own data sources and from outside third-party data sources, you can bring that together and get business value out of that.
And we combine this unstructured data that I just talked about with that accounts receivable data, and suddenly we've got a rich profile.
So you want to do data crunching?
Right.
Basically, Amazon is the world's biggest supercomputer available right now.
Right.
And that you're able to use that data. You turn on the data sources you need. Within a couple of hours, you have the analysis you need.
Amazon's private brands team in India secretly exploited internal data to copy products sold by other companies, knocking off the products of sellers in its marketplace.
Using that big data against our best customers, it's a huge asset.
And rigging search results. An exploitation of its vast trove of data to promote its own merchandise at the expense of other sellers.
Amazon is now 50% of all e-commerce.
Amazon has been forcing third-party sellers to enter into contracts that penalize them if they try to sell their products on other sites for cheaper prices. And that includes a company's own website.
For every euro of sales, Hubacher has to hand over 30 cents to Amazon. Amazon is one of the most valuable companies in the world, along with Apple, Google, and Facebook. They're worth together around $7 trillion. The success of software can depend on its presence in the App Store, for which Apple charges 15 to 30% of revenue.
And essentially tells us if you don't like the deal, you can just get out of here. You can just shut down your business. How is that a choice? It just felt like mafia tactics.
The tech companies decide under what conditions others can enter their system. In the process, they collect oceans of data.
They invade our private lives through surveillance. They extract from our lives, rendering what they extract as behavioral data, and then they claim those behavioral data as their private property.
The way you live your life, the way you do your work, the way research and development are all moving forward. It all relies on this enormous amount of data and this enormous amount of computing power.
Guess who else has access to your privacy and behavioral data?
So one of the things that we were able to do with the Smart TV platform was actually abuse the browser to the extent that we could actually gain access to the camera that's built into the TV. This is something that we can do invisibly and actually have the camera running behind the web page that you're looking at. I could be sitting on a laptop in a cafe in Paris, and as long as I have a network connection, I'd be able to get into your TV and access the camera.
Hackers, spy agencies, you name it, anyone, anywhere around the world.
This data is pretty valuable, not just to device makers, but to hackers.
If you're watching your smart TV, somebody may be into your device.
The FBI recommends putting a piece of black tape over the camera eye if you can't turn off the camera.
And that you're covering those microphone holes. Also make sure you unplug it.
Okay.
I'm Santa Claus. Don't you want to be my best friend?
The horrifying sound coming from this Ring security camera installed in the child's bedroom.
Until 2 weeks ago, Danielle's home in Portland, Oregon was wired in every room with the Amazon Echo. Her family used the Alexa app to do everything from turn up the heat to turn off the lights. But that their love for the Alexa changed with one alarming phone call. That person was one of her husband's employees calling from Seattle.
He proceeded to tell us that he had received audio files, recordings from what was going on in our house.
It's nearly impossible to distinguish between consumer products and surveillance equipment.
It's really easy to forget that normal household items are spying on you.
Look at all these products. Can you see a single microphone or camera? There is an entire economy for spy footage of people. Couples being intimate, people going to the bathroom. For many people, this is much more than just perversion. This is a business.
Your privacy is being studied, monetized, and sold. Data collection has become so sophisticated that NGOs are now using AI algorithms that can accurately predict or even interfere with election outcomes.
Do you really have a file on every voter in this country?
Yeah.
Yes. And if you just pick one at random, how much would it say about an individual?
Literally, you could look and you could look into thousands of characteristics.
Thanks to advances in data analysis and digital communications, it's now becoming possible for political leaders to capture the expressions of all American minds.
So where does the house-by-house data come from? An amazing range of sources, among them supermarket and credit card transactions, and what people watch on TV. Data analysis was pioneered in the two triumphant Obama campaigns. They even boasted they knew the names of all 69 million people who voted for Obama.
We had 12 people on our data team in 2008. We had 165 in 2012. Wow. We ended up using all that data to change the way we dealt with voters.
Mitch Stewart was Obama's director of battleground states.
I had reports every single night that went all the way down to the volunteer level in every single state. And so I could see exactly how many doors were knocked, how many conversations they had, what were the results of those conversations, and then that rolled all the way up to a national report.
But the Republican side say they've now caught up on big data, especially through their psychological profiling.
So depending on what personality type you have, we can take messaging on a particular policy or issue and then tweak it.
So these tech companies have our live-time location tracking data, as well as access to live cell phone ping geolocation tracking data, as well as all of our social media posts, and including our private conversations that we have in proximity to our smart devices. Imagine what they could do with all of that data on, say, election night. They could have a common operational picture of who's already voted at early voting, who is likely to vote a certain way and who's not likely to vote another way. In fact, by midnight, they would know whose ballots need to be stuffed into which box in order to get them the election outcome they so desire.
Significantly more data has come in between 2012 through 2016 and into 2018. Political analytics has boomed as an industry over this period of time. We talked earlier about the importance of being able to model the behavior of the entire electorate in order to understand what states are going to have close elections, where we can effectively allocate resources. We're moving to a data warehouse built on Google BigQuery so that fundamentally people can interact with all of this data for analysts and data scientists, and to provide a foundation that people can build on top of and can do new innovative work that pushes the bounds of political data forward and drives political strategy as a result.
Do you remember when Facebook was all about family and friends? Little did we know that would all turn out to be a nightmare.
In 2015, Matt Drudge made a rare and unannounced appearance on The Alex Jones Show, warning about social media and how mass internet censorship was on the horizon.
I'm not on Facebook. I don't do the socials. I've got that little Twitter thing. Even that's kind of disgusting. You know, I've been doing the internet as long as you've been doing this radio show, Alex. I was there before Facebook. I was there before CNN.com. I was there before mostly all of them. I have a very clear perception what the internet is. There's a lot of corporate makeover of the internet that I have not adapted to. I need no traffic from Google or Bing or Yahoo or any of these others. It's always been that way. Now, if you think of that setup, how rare that is, because everybody's so hungry for referrals. This whole social media stuff is bogus. Make your own playground. The internet allows you to make your own dynamic, your own universe. Why are you gravitating towards somebody else's? Stop operating in their playground. Stop it.
We were warned not to be corralled into their platforms, that we needed to make our own digital space. But instead, we kept feeding their machine, giving it more and more of our data. We knew they could censor us, but we didn't care. We could just keep making new profiles, bouncing from platform to platform, hide behind anonymity,
and turn it into a game of whack-a-mole.